Okay, peeps, welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be talking about LTCN and RIOT, my most current swing trades on cryptocurrency. Let's get it. So the first thing I want to bring up is the LTCN trade. Now, I found out about this because of Ethan Galstead. I'm sure a lot of you guys probably watch his YouTube channel. He talks a lot about the Grayscale funds. Um, there's multiple reasons why I picked up this position. Number one, Litecoin is an oscillator to Bitcoin, which means when Bitcoin goes up, Litecoin goes up. I don't want to get too deep into chart analysis and all that stuff today, but basically, more or less, I'm expecting the price of Litecoin to go up in roughly about 16 months when Bitcoin hits its all-time high or thereabouts. The second reason why I picked up LTCN is because the SEC is currently battling with Grayscale and all these other big companies like BlackRock and Fidelity to stop them from getting spot Bitcoin ETFs approved, which if that happens, trillions of dollars will most likely flow into Bitcoin and other crypto assets because at that point it would get regulatory approval. I believe that there was just an article that was written that stated that the SEC tried to take one of the crypto exchanges to court or something like that, and they lost. I think maybe it was Grayscale tried to convert a ETF that they currently had into a spot ETF, and SEC said no. And the judge came back and basically said, no, you can't do that. You have to approve it. So everybody's super bullish on that. I can tell you guys right now, in this part of the cycle, we are still in a bear market. We're not going to go up in terms of crypto prices until after the Bitcoin halving, which is next year. So let's get into my current positions. So as of right now, you guys can see I do own shares of LTCN, Grayscale, Litecoin Trust. I have roughly about, well, it doesn't really show the share count here for some reason, but I have, I think, roughly about 90 shares of this. So if I go down here and I take a look at the chart of LTCN, we're going to take a look at that real quick because you guys know me. I am both a day trader and an investor. This fund was actually created after the previous Bitcoin halving. The previous Bitcoin halving would have been around here in May of 2020. You can see the fund was created, and from the low to the high, it did roughly about a 1,500% move to about 450 bucks. So basically from 26 bucks all the way up to 450. Now, as you guys can see here on the chart, it has come down pretty substantially ever since the bear market took place and the Fed started raising rates and all that jazz. And it's pretty much stayed flat at this point. So from the current price that it is right now, all the way to the top, you're talking a huge, massive gain here from the price that I bought in at about $4 to the top of this thing is roughly about a 100x. If I currently have $400 in this position and this thing does a 100x, I'll make about $39,600 in gains. And this whole thing right here can be considered to be a support level. Now let's dig in a little bit here and take a look at the price to see if it's actually moving or if this thing's completely dead, okay? So you guys can see the price has been moving. It's slowly been moving up. This is typically how crypto works into the halving event for Bitcoin. If I had bought at the low and sold at this peak, I still would have made roughly about a 3.5x on my money. So there is still potential even in the immediate short term. Now, let's take a look at the Litecoin halving. So the most recent Litecoin halving was in 2019. It was on August 5th. There was recently a Litecoin halving that took place last month. I did not buy Litecoin up until the halving event. The reason why is because Litecoin usually goes up into the halving event and then sells off afterwards, which I'm going to show you guys in a minute. It's a typical buy the rumor, sell the news event. That's usually how markets go. So we got August 2nd, 2023. I'm going to pull up the Litecoin chart here real quick. And if we take a look at August 22nd, 2023, you can see this is roughly around where the Litecoin halving took place. Now, this wasn't an exact science. Or hold on a sec. Oh, my bad, 2023. So I'm on 2022 here. So you guys can see pretty much right here, almost not perfect, but almost pretty much right up until the halving. This thing moved up absolutely massive, pretty much all the way until about July, so about a month before the halving. And then as we got into the halving, it started selling off, and then it basically just pretty much came back down to this support zone here. So we'll take a look at the previous halving, which was August 5th, 2019. That was the previous cycle Litecoin halving. So August 5th, 2019, almost exactly to the month on this chart. You guys can see it did the exact same thing here. So August 5th, 2019. Let's go back to the chart here. So from the end of 18 all the way up until about June of 2019, July of 2019, it went up. And then as soon as the halving took place, it sold back off basically pretty much right to that support level. So history repeating itself here. That's the reason why I've waited to pick up LTCN. I do actually have actual Litecoin, but I'm not going to talk about that in this video because I said I wouldn't talk about crypto till October. So let's go over my next stock swing trade, which is RIOT. So I'm going to pull up a chart of RIOT here real quick as soon as I can find it. Okay, so here we got the Bitcoin miners. So this is RIOT. As you guys can see, this zone here is kind of historical support. And if we zoom in a little bit here, you guys can see on the weekly that this level right in here, about the $10 level, was support. This thing took off to the upside. I didn't want to buy it up here because we were hitting resistance, so I waited. It did come back down to my support level, and I picked up some shares. Now, from the price that I picked it up at, which was roughly about a 10x or $10 share price, from that price to the previous peak would be roughly about an 8x on my money. So let's take a look at the actual trade itself. As you guys can see, I got MAR right here. This was the actual transaction right here, August 1st. Or sorry, this is the wrong stock, my bad. RIOT. So here we go. September 5th, I picked up 38 shares at an average price of $10.90, which is equivalent to roughly about $400 or $500, somewhere in there. So I'm expecting this thing over the next 16 months to surpass these all-time highs, maybe give me as much as a 10x, which even on $500 would still be $5,000 or about $4,500 in profit. So kind of my game theory here is that the shares may come back down to this level here at $5 into the halving event, and I could just DCA my way down to this support zone, effectively being able to give myself maximum upside here. And these are Bitcoin miner stocks. Again, Bitcoin depends on the network. If there's no Bitcoin being mined, Bitcoin doesn't exist because there's no network. And people that want to buy and sell Bitcoin can't buy and sell it because there's no miners. So these guys are pretty much a sure bet. Well, I guess nothing would really be a sure bet, but it's pretty much about as sure as you can get. So I only put roughly about $500 in it because I want to DCA down and eventually get to like 800 to 1,000 each. One thing I did forget to mention in the previous Mara video is I did actually buy, as you guys can see, I did place a trade for 100 shares of Mara back here at a little bit less than $10 at the end of April. And then I got stopped out on this trade. As you guys can see here, got stopped out a little bit. So if I click on Mara real quick, you guys can see that I pretty much, well, if I can find it, I got in right in this support kind of consolidation area here. And I got stopped out in the support zone. And me personally, when it comes to swing trades, I don't use the stop loss. I just average down. For those of you out there that would be like, oh, well, why don't you use a stop loss? Well, the reason I don't use a stop loss is because of this. I got stopped out in the support zone, and then did a 120% increase. I could have doubled my money, but I got stopped out and then it took off without me. And as far as performance goes, out of all the trades that I've had, all the swing trades that I've had since April, literally only 2 of them I have not sold for a profit, and those are the ones that I'm still currently holding. And I'm going to show you guys right here. So for any of the naysayers that are like, well, you should use the stop loss, you got to manage your risk. Guys, I know what I'm doing, okay? So the only 2 that I'm still in that I have not taken profit on is SOUN and ALT. So this is pretty much my game plan for these trades. It's kind of a trade idea, I guess. If you guys choose to take this trade, you're taking so at your own risk. This is not financial advice. This is what I'm doing. But the Bitcoin halving is coming, and when it does, these things are going to moonshot. So I'd like to make a lot of money off of them. It's taking a look at possibly a 8 to 10x on Mara, 8 to 10x on Riot, maybe even more than that if Bitcoin breaks its previous all-time highs. And as for Litecoin, I mean, shout out again to Ethan Galstead. He is absolutely right about this. If this thing moonshots even 50% of the way back to all-time highs, that would be about a 50x on my money. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see y'all later. Peace.